I want to talk about the sentential meaning in the area of the phrasal and sentential semantics study. In today's talk, we are going to look at its 5 concepts. They are entailment, contradiction, lexical paraphrase, structural paraphrase, and anomaly. So first of all, let's look at the term entailment. The concept of the term entailment, it is the relationship between sentences where the truth of one sentence implies the truth of another. And if sentence A entails sentence B, that is to say the sentence B is an entailment of the sentence A. Then whatever sentence A is true, B must also be true. But the truth of sentence B does not necessarily imply the truth of sentence A. To have a better grasp of it, let's look at the example. Sentence A, Fido is a dog, and sentence B, Fido is an animal. The relationship between those two sentences is that if sentence A, Fido is a dog, is true, then sentence B, Fido is an animal, is true as well. And if sentence B, Fido is an animal, is true, then Fido is a dog does not necessarily to be true. That is, sentence A is a dog entails sentence B, Fido is an animal. And sentence B, Fido is an animal, is an entailment of sentence A, Fido is a dog. Let's look at some more examples. Let's look at the first pair of the sentences. Sentence A, John killed Bill, and sentence B, Bill's dead. So if sentence A is true, sentence B is true as well. That is, if the sentence A, John killed Bill, is true, then the sentence B, Bill's dead, is true as well. But if sentence B is true, then sentence A doesn't have to be necessarily true. That is, if the sentence B, Bill's dead, is true, then the sentence A, John killed Bill, doesn't have to be necessarily true. Bill can be killed by someone else. So we can see that sentence A entails sentence B, and the sentence B is an entailment of sentence A. Let's look at the second pair of the sentences. Sentence A, John didn't kill Bill. Sentence B, Bill didn't die. So if sentence A is true, sentence B is true as well. That is, if sentence A, John didn't kill Bill, is true, then sentence B, Bill didn't die, is true as well. But if sentence B is true, sentence A doesn't have to be necessarily true. That is, if sentence B, Bill didn't die, is true, then sentence A, John didn't kill Bill, doesn't have to be necessarily true. Bill didn't die doesn't mean that it is John didn't kill Bill. We can see that sentence A entails sentence B, and sentence B is an entailment of sentence A. Let's look at the last example sentences. Sentence A, John boiled an egg. Sentence B, John cooked an egg. Sentence C, someone did something. So if sentence A is true, sentence B and C are true as well, right? But if sentence B and C is true, sentence A doesn't have to be necessarily true. If the sentence A, John boiled an egg, is true, then sentence B, John cooked an egg, and sentence C, someone did something, are true as well. But if sentence B and C are true, sentence A, John boiled an egg, doesn't have to be true, right? It can be John fried an egg rather than John boiled an egg. That is, sentence A entails sentences B and C, and sentences B and C are entailment of sentence A. Let's look at contradiction. The concept of contradiction, it is the truth of one sentence implies the falseness of another sentence. Let's look at those three pairs. Let's look at the first pair. The sentence A, the cat is sitting on the mat. Sentence B, the cat is not sitting on the mat. We can see obviously they are contradicting with each other. Let's look at the second pair. The meeting starts at 2 p.m. The meeting starts at 3 p.m. Quite obvious contradicting sentences. And let's look at the third pair. The book is read. The book is not read. So they are contradicting with each other. Quite obvious. Let's look at lexical paraphrase. The concept of lexical paraphrase, it is the sentences that have the same or nearly same meaning by replacing individual words or phrases with synonyms or near synonyms. Let's look at this pair. Sentence A, she forgot her handbag, and sentence B, she forgot her purse. So those two sentences are lexical paraphrase because the synonyms handbag and purse are replaced. Let's look at structural paraphrase. The concept of structural paraphrase, it is the sentences that have the same or nearly the same meaning by rewriting a sentence or passage through altering its grammatical structure. Let's look at this example. The sentence A, John ate the apple. Sentence B, the apple was eaten by John. And sentence C, it was John that ate the apple. We can see that sentence B is altered into passive voice from the active voice of sentence A. And the sentence C, that instead of John as subject, here the pronoun ate is put as subject. And instead of the apple as object, here John that ate the apple as the object. Even though the structural paraphrase are changing the sentence structures, but they keep the same sentence meaning. Let's look at the term anomaly. The concept of the term anomaly is that the sentences that are anomalous when they deviate from semantic rules, that is, a sentence is grammatically correct, but the meaning of the sentence doesn't make sense or logical. Let's look at the sentence A, the donkey kills water. So the word kill and water doesn't have the conceptual similarity or compatibility, and it doesn't make sense. Let's look at the sentence B, the fish of rosy barb eat fire. Fish eat fire. They just don't have the conceptual similarity or conceptual compatibility, and the meaning doesn't make sense. Let's look at sentence C, the waiting is blue. The phrase waiting and blue, they just don't make any conceptual similarity and compatibility in meaning. Sentence D, the languages are afraid. The languages and afraid, they are not compatible conceptually in meaning, so it doesn't make sense. We are going to do some practices of sentential meaning. Here we are going to look at sentence A and sentence B, and we are going to figure out, are they entailment with each other? Are they structural and lexical paraphrases with each other? Or are they contradiction and anomaly. Let's look at the first sentence. Tomac didn't steal a pound of beef versus Tomac didn't take a pound of beef. So if we align it to the concept of entailment, we can see that Tomac didn't steal a pound of beef entails Tomac didn't take a pound of beef. And let's look at the second sentence. The zoo warden drowned versus the zoo warden dead. If we align it to the concept of entailment, we can see that the zoo warden drowned entails the zoo warden dead. Let's look at the third example. The victim chased the burglar versus the burglar was chased by the victim. If we align it with the concept of structural paraphrase, firstly, they express the same meaning. Secondly, they have structural alteration. So it is a structural paraphrase. Let's look at the fourth sentence. A tall person gives a speech versus a pygmy gives a speech. If we align it to the concept of contradiction, we can easily sense that they are contradicting with each other. Let's look at the fifth sentence. All coffins are black. My grandpa's coffin is black. So if we align it to the concept of entailment, we can see that all coffins are black is entailing my grandpa's coffin is black. So they are entailment with each other. Let's look at the sixth sentence. Mary is a spinster versus Mary is married. So we can see obviously that Mary is a spinster is contradicting with Mary is married. Let's look at the seventh sentence. Elizabeth is the wife of Henry versus Elizabeth is married. If we align it to the concept of entailment, so the first sentence is entailing the second sentence. Let's look at the eighth sentence. David likes the taste of chocolate fudge versus David finds chocolate fudge tasty. So if we align it to the concept of lexical paraphrase, we can see that here the word like is substituted by the word find. So there's a synonym replacing in the sentence. So it is a lexical paraphrase. Let's look at the ninth sentence. Olivia is the sister of Rubin versus Rubin's sister is Olivia. If we align it to the concept of structure of the paraphrase, we can see that those two sentences are expressing the same meaning and their sentence structures are changed. Let's look at the ninth sentence. Olivia is the sister of Rubin versus Rubin's sister is Olivia. If we align it to the concept of structural paraphrase, we can see that firstly, their sentence structures are altered. Secondly, the meaning of the sentences are the same. So they are structural paraphrase. Let's look at the 10th sentence. Tony felt a bit sky and went to the cloud. So felt, sky, went to cloud. They don't have a conceptual similarity or compatibility with each other. So this sentence doesn't make sense. It is an anomaly. Alright, that's it. I want to talk about sentential meaning in the area of the phrasal and the sentential semantics study. In today's talk, we're going to look at its 5 concepts. they are entailment